can also pin me as a speaker. Hello, everyone. You're welcome to Grant's Readiness Workshop. I'm super excited to serve you today. And my name is Mene. Who am I? I am the lead facilitator at Fundraising Academy, where I teach how to win grants and how to raise investment for your businesses. I have supported a lot of organizations, 100 plus organizations in Nigeria, in the US, to raise capital successfully. I've raised different type of capital, grant funding, equity funding, loan funding, and winning of contracts across multiple disciplines. I've been doing this for over a decade, so please listen because everything I'm teaching you is 100% practical and is based on not just theory but real life success and lessons learned. I also run a company called VetAC. At VetAC, I'm the CEO, and what we do at VetAC is that we provide financing to poultry and fish farms across 1/3 of Nigeria. So if you're a fish farmer, if you're a poultry farmer, especially a poultry farmer who is doing broiler farming, we currently have a fund that we're deploying to hundreds of farms across the country. So please reach out. If you're into the processing of chicken and into frozen chicken and all that, you can also reach out to us and we'll be glad to do business with you and finance you. I'm also the co-founder of Cascador. Cascador supports much more mature businesses, typically mid-stage companies across any sector in Nigeria. And we've been doing this for, I think this is the 6th year already. So I'm super excited to be here to teach you. Just to give you a little bit more detail about my background. Again, I've helped facilitate the raising of more than $40 million in capital. I've supported hundreds of businesses and nonprofits. I am married. I have 2 kids, Nathan and Roxanne. I'm super excited about them. I've worked in Nigeria, I've worked in the US, and I do have a range of experience across not just Nigeria, but the US and also Europe. Academically, I have 2 degrees. Yeah, of course, I have my undergrad degree. I graduated from the Ahmadu Bello University over a decade ago, but I have 2 degrees, a master's in entrepreneurship and innovation from Rome Business School and an executive MBA from Quantic. Over the last couple of years, I've won multiple awards. I always like mentioning the Global Social Entrepreneurship Competition. By God's grace, my team was the only all-African team to ever win that competition in the many years that it was running. And that was far back as 2023. And by God's grace, every single year since then, I've been winning multiple awards across different locations. So I've won Best Startup in Africa recently. That was in Lagos. McCloskey Prize, that's in the US. I've won multiple awards, including Goalkeepers Reviewers Award from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In 2018, for example, my company also won the Google Impact Challenge Public Choice Prize, which was the top prize Google awarded. Not to run through each of these, but the reason I attention to the critical details I'll be sharing, right? And I have experience across multiple sectors, from technology to agriculture to finance. And I've advised people who are doing health, different types of science related projects and the like. So, irrespective of your country, irrespective of your sector, irrespective of the stage of your business, whether you're a company or a nonprofit, or whether you're still at the idea stage, research stage, development stage, or you've progressed, you're now making millions, hundreds of millions, or a few billions, I am your go-to plug for that. Okay, so please pay attention to what I will be teaching today. So let's talk. Today we're talking about grant readiness. We're talking about how to unlock grants for your own projects, for your own business, for your own organization. Now, we're going to start from the bottom, right? What are grants? Let's talk about what are grants. In my own definition, grants are non-refundable, cash or in-kind support provided by funder in support of a charitable or innovative project. Okay, this is how I define grants. Now, what does that mean essentially? It is non-refundable, which means that once you get a grant award, you need to use the grant award to execute what you said you would do, right? And having done that, the funder is not expecting you to pay back that money. It is not a loan, or equity, so you don't have to pay back the money. Number two, the funds typically would come to you as cash, typically cash that typically. If it does not come to you as cash, then it will come to you as some form of in-kind technical support. And in this case, you might have situations where organizations like Google, for example, may say, hey, we're giving you $100,000 ad grant. So the money you could have spent advertising online, you would then spend it towards, using it for your own business for in-kind contribution. And other types of grants that the funder might give to you, and they don't say, hey, we're not giving you direct cash, okay, but we would pay an expert to come support you. Okay, you're working on this project, you're trying to develop this innovation. We're going to cover the cost of an expert supporting you. And one of the funders that loves doing that would be the likes of GIZ. Okay, now, uh, the coming from government institutions, from foundation, MT Foundation, Dangote Foundation, and the likes. And finally, something I want you to keep in mind is that this money is going towards what I call a project. So it has to be a project. So sometimes it's going to be to fund your full business operations or your full non-profit operations, or it might be that you create a project. Okay, I want to do one, two, three, and then you go pitch it to a funder, and then they would then finance you. Does that make sense? So this is what I want you to sort of learn. Now let's talk about why grants are really, really important. Okay, grants are critical because they help to they provide you access to cash, but even more importantly, it does something that is magical. It sort of helps you not to sell equity or ownership in your company, because normally, if you go to a bank, you would need to raise money and pay back. Or you go to an investor, they will buy a percentage of your company and own a part of your company. But with grants, you don't have that limitation. Another thing you need to know would be that grants can be dedicated to the growth of your business or NGO. So, for example, you want to buy equipment, you want to pay your staff salary, you want to pay the cost of marketing, you want to organize an event, and you need to be able to cover the cost of logistics. Grants money can help you accomplish this. If, for example, you're conducting a research in your university, and you need to be able to cover the bills associated with that, you can win grants to sort of cover those expenses. So it will help you establish your ideas, your projects, your businesses, whatever they might be. Another fantastic thing about winning grants is that grants help to increase your credibility, okay? Because these funders are not babies, right? They are experienced people, they are typical experts in their field, right? So they typically will organize some of these award or competitions or grant programs in order to identify the best of the best. And so when you hear that somebody wins a prize, it tells you usually that this is a high quality person, or they have proposed a project that is high quality. So for example, I have won multiple awards, right? Irrespective of the type, there are always a lot of people who are competing. I do remember in one of the programs I participated in a couple of years ago, I had to compete with people from Harvard University, Stanford University, guys from Singapore, India. We all gathered in Seattle, Washington. To compete, and people came with all types of technology, all types of products, research, and all those sort of things. And at the end of the day, by God's grace alone, I came on top, number one in the world, right? And in a way, that sort of earned me a lot of appreciation, a lot of respect, from these top institutions. And that just tells you that, okay, this guy or this team, they know what they are doing. For someone to defeat guys from Harvard, Stanford, and go, this guy is top tech, right? Top talent, So it builds your credibility when you win grants. Another amazing thing about grants is that they help to fund your innovation and your social impact. So, a number of you are running businesses, you want to make a difference in your community, you want to change the lives of people, you want to implement things that would change an industry. Grants help you receive the resources that you need to go execute on this sort of impact that you want to see happen. All right. And then finally, when you win a grant, you become like a global brand. What does that mean? So, for example, you win a grant that is being organized by an institution in Europe, right, or in the US, right, or Asia, wherever they might be. When you win that type of grant, it meant that you had to compete with other applicants from across the world. And so, in a way, you are a top rate talent at the global stage, okay? This is far, far better than what do you call this Nigerian program? Let me not call their name, but some of these less intellectually competent reality shows. So this is real life stuff, and a lot of major organizations win this. And let me just point it out here. Some people say, "Oh, this grant thing, at what stage you stop raising grants?" And I tell them, I say, even to Nilu, who is a billionaire, is still raising grants, right? He's talking and pitching to different multilateral government organizations and nonprofits to sort of finance, the philanthropic work that he's doing on the continent. So it is something that will continue for a long period of time, so long as government exists and so long as subsidies, need to be paid for the implementation of high risk projects, that will not otherwise be funded with people's income. Okay. Now let us make some progress. And let's talk about a very critical topic. What do funders want? What are funders looking for when they are trying to award a grant? So there are different things, but let's pick them apart one by one. Okay, so typically, a funder is looking for a number of things, right? Number one, they're looking for a clear and compelling story. So what does that mean? It means that you want to create impact, you want to execute this project, but you need to be able to package it well. You need to package your idea very well so that the person who is going to fund you will be interested. It's almost like sales and marketing, right? Some people, because they don't know how to sell, they don't know how to talk, they don't know how to package their proposal, write their grant applications in a way that makes sense to a funder, they lose out, right? So what you want to do is that you want to be very clear in what you are looking to achieve, number one. Then number two, you want to skin it as a compelling story for a funder to support. Another thing funders typically love to see is that they love to see a strong principal investigator, okay, or a strong CEO, a strong team lead, and stuff like that. They also like to see a strong team. What do I mean by this? Say, for example, you are proposing the creation of a specific type of chemical that will wash carpets or that would solve a particular illness, right? You created a cure to COVID-19. For example, I'm just using that as an example. It makes a lot of sense that you have some technical experience around that field to say, okay, I'm a professor, I'm a doctor, I hold a BSc in chemistry, and for that reason, I have created an innovation in the field of chemistry. Not necessarily all the time, because we've seen cases where people create innovation in a field that they are not experts in just because they have external perspective. However, you as a person, you need to have something you're bringing to the table, right? Just so that people can trust you. And beyond that, it's also good to have other people around you, one or two people in your core team that have strong technical skill set that they are contributing to that project, right? And then I would say finally, execution is critical. Many times you will find that people people come up with all sorts of ideas, all sorts of projects or NGOs, but they don't implement. They just talk, 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 talk. 1 year, 2 year, 10 years, they're still talking. Oh, I want to do this. I wish you do this, and time has gone. And so, if you are that type of person, today is the day to change. Okay, I want you to be the kind of leader or individual or expert who puts your energy where your mouth belongs. Who puts, you say you want to do this, at least try it out on a small scale. Let us see that you're very serious about this thing you're trying to execute. Now, I'm moving on to something else. Something founders love to see would be some form of proven traction, right? Proven traction and potential. Now, what does this mean in simple English? What it means is that if you come up with an idea, you and you say, "Oh, you're looking for funding for this particular idea," right? Oh, I want to, for example, make animal feeds for rabbits or for chickens or whatever. It is really critical that beyond that idea in your head, you have tried to do something about that idea, right? And you have shown some small progress, even if it is at a laboratory or tabletop scale. What do I mean? Yeah, we know you want to create this innovation that will start making cattle or cows to grow faster or to grow taller. Whatever your idea or innovation may be, or you've created a machine that can do one, two, three. It is very important that even if you don't have that full scale equipment, doing it at a very small, cheap scale is very important because it shows that you really believe in your idea. And this is one of the things I realized years ago that helped me win a lot of competitions. I always treat these things sometimes as a case in a court, right? Think of it like you're going to court. The person who's going to win the case is the person that has evidence, right? So if everybody comes here and they say, "Oh, I have this idea, I want to do this, I have this idea, I want to do this," who will you fund? You yourself. Who would you give money to? Who would you give your resources to? It is the person who says, "I have this idea, and here's what I have done." To test this thing out, to prove, you will believe that person more because they've put their energy where their mouth is. They're not just talking, cha, 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 cha. They are actually doing the work. Okay. So this is me just trying to customize to our Nigerian audience. Okay. Now, something else that I want to look for is budget alignment and stability. Now, you come with projects execute, and then he is going to give you funds to execute that project, and then everybody goes their way. No. Nowadays, funders are asking for how can we make this sustainable? Right? Okay, if we gave you funds to execute this project, when our money runs out, what happens? Is this thing going to die? Is this project going to just die? How would you continue to finance it beyond the grant money? This is a question a lot of funders are now asking just because there is limited money out there. And it just makes sense that if you receive financing for a project, when the money finishes 5 years down the line, the funders should still be able to look and say, "Oh, we supported this person to start." We all love the story of, oh, how Dangote got some money from his uncle and all those sort of things. And the reason that makes sense is because you can look 20 years, 30 years down the line and see that, oh, this organization has now become a large enterprise. Beyond the grant funding or loan funding that Dangote got, for example, to start his business, Dangote has become a billionaire today, and he now has his own foundation, right? So we will not constantly be raising grants all our lives. However, the grants we raise today help us to get now become donors ourselves. So I'm trusting that every single person listening to me today, you would end up as a major donor in Nigeria, in Africa, and that's my prayer for you. Okay, so we want to see businesses grow, we want to see projects executed, and we want to see you become so rich and so profitable and so sustainable that you will end up a major funder in our nation. Okay, this is what I want to see happen. Let me talk about budget alignment. Budget alignment, what does it mean? In simple terms, if what I want to give is, for example, $100,000. Or let me use Nigerian balance. Let's say you have a project and you just need 1 million naira to execute that project. If what I have to give is 500,000, then we are not aligned because you need more money than I can give. Right, so you need to go find somebody else who can finance you, or you need to find two people like me who can give you 500K, 500K. So it is very important to understand what a funder has to give. I think one of the questions we asked earlier was like, oh, what are you hoping to learn? And someone says, oh, I want to win a grant from this foundation for 5K or something. And that person wants to win 100K. Irrespective, it's not just about how much it's going to cost you to execute your project, but how much the funder has to give. So it's almost like a man and woman coming together to get married. You have to be aligned. And maybe I should chip in something here, that it is very critical to be cost effective, right? What does cost effectiveness mean? It means that always assume that your idea is not unique to you. Yes. I know you're an inventor. I know you have come up with this unique way of doing XYZ, XYZ, but always assume that there is somebody somewhere else in your country or somewhere in the continent or in the world who is doing exactly what you're doing and is saying the exact same thing that you're saying. Now, the advantage of thinking this way is that it helps you to now be realistic with your costs. So don't come to a funder to say, hey, we want to execute this project and we need 100 million when somebody else is going to be pitching that they will do the same thing for half the cost. You see it. So this is why sometimes when people even apply for grants, they don't win because they want to hit or they want to have breakthrough, major financial breakthrough. You know, what you don't know is that there is somebody else who is proposing the same thing you're proposing, but probably for 2, 3, 4 times cheaper. Okay, so keep that at the back of your mind. And then finally, funders are looking for real innovation, something that is mind blowing, something that when you hear about it, you say, I like what this guy is doing. I like what this woman is doing. Something with a touch of innovation and something that has some form of measurable impact. I'll use a case study of a story, something I've heard. So there was this guy back then who used to they do waste collection. So they collect plastic waste. So think about your Coca-Cola bottle at home or some of these plastic waste from water you drink, right? Now imagine those plastics are gathered like you would observe and then they are sold, right? Somebody comes to pick them up from your home or from your event center, right? Now let's say these people come, you give them one sack of just empty plastic bottles, right? Now they then weigh it, maybe the weight is weighing 50 kg. They then say, okay, this 50 kg is equals to, let's say, 5,000 naira or 50,000 naira, yeah. Now they are not going to give you the 50,000 naira. However, what they will do would be that they will go sell the plastic to a company that will buy 50,000 naira. Then they will then send you maybe 10,000 naira worth of payments. Now, but for you, you're a big man or a big woman. What are you going to do with 10,000 naira? So instead, what they then did was that they then take that 10,000 naira and go to an insurance company, and then they would then say, "Oh, Dr. Mba or Sadat needs health insurance, right?" So they use the money to pay for health insurance. Guess what happens? Maybe there's a day you're feeling sick, you're having malaria, you go to the hospital or to a nearby pharmacy or so around you, and then you present your name and your details. Then say, okay, oh, okay, you have insurance, madam, you have insurance. And then that money that was paid to them is then used to purchase and pay for your healthcare costs. So this is something that an entrepreneur did, and funders really loved it because it's not really really new, But the fact that somebody was able to connect waste to healthcare was mind-blowing. And there was another organization in Nigeria. What they did instead was that those monies they used to pay towards people's light bill, electricity bill. And so you see people want to collect waste, gather waste, and you people come and take. Why? Because they know that whatever waste they generate is being converted to healthcare or NEPA bill, for them. And so people just got excited about recycling waste. So these are the kind of things, for example, I just use that as example. There are millions of other types of example, but I'm just trying to help you showcase that how to think about innovation and how to think about impact for your projects. So let's talk about why SMEs don't get funded. Why do businesses don't get funded? Oh, I'm a professor, I'm a doctor, I'm a graduate. I've been applying for grants in the last 10 years and I have no one grants. Every time they're sending me rejection letter, I must have a spiritual problem. No, you don't have a spiritual problem. You don't have a spiritual problem at all. There's something that you are not doing right. Okay, so let's talk about those things. Number one, every time you apply for a grant, typically in the grant proposal, the first question you'll be asked, like almost 90% of the time, the first question you get is like, what problem are you trying to solve? And this is something we're very good at in Africa. We know how to talk about the problem of something. You know how to talk about the government. Now, if you want to solve for your project, talk about it, right? And so, what we are seeing is that a lot of people don't know, they are just very vague, broad, So, in order to solve this issue, what you need to do is to be very clear, very specific. Oh, the problem we're solving is one, two, three. And then beyond that, you would be very articulate in terms of using statistics and other sort of stuff and storytelling to back up your points. Number two, people don't get funded because they come up with solutions that are theoretical. They have not tested it at all, at all. It's just theory in their head or drawings on paper. They have not proven anything. And so it becomes really hard to get someone to back that idea up. Okay, it's a big issue. Another number three would be there is no traction, there's no evidence, and there's no even proof that people want what you're trying to do. This and a lot of people who are victims of this are people who are very intelligent. Okay, King Solomon said that the race is not to the swift, that he looked under the sun and observed that the wisest man is not the richest man, that the man who has the most knowledge is not is not the person who does well in society the most. That the person who is the fastest runner does not always win the race. And just because you have strength like a Hulk Hogan does not mean that you will win a wrestling match. And the reason he said was that it is about being at the right place at the right time. Many people are applying for grants, right? They're very intelligent, they're brilliant, but everything is in their head, in their coconut head. They don't want to bring it out and test it, right? So that is a big issue. Remember what I said, always think of grants like you're trying to prosecute a case in a court and you need evidence to win. What other reasons do people have? Do people not get funded? Number four would be weak traction, right? Weak traction, weak budgeting, right? You're proposing to execute a project that will cost 100 million naira, but you don't have a detailed breakdown of how you're going to utilize that money in a way that makes sense. Or maybe your budget is not aligning with the template that the funder has provided. And I would like to recycle back to the point I was trying to make earlier about demand. It is very important that you don't just create innovation based on what you're thinking in your head. It needs to be based on people really need this, and you must have proof to show that people need that thing, right? Something else that makes people not to get grants or get funded is poorly written grant applications. They don't know how to write the application. They don't know how to communicate in the language that the funders want to hear. I tell people, I say, imagine you're a Yoruba person or a Hausa man or an Igbo woman, for example, right? If somebody is speaking your language, you are understanding them. Or you are from Warri and you know how to broke pigeon very well. When you are talking, you are, vibrating at the same frequency. So when you write and you write poorly, and you write in a way that the person you're writing in Yoruba and the person is reading it in Hausa, if you are writing in a way that the funder does not understand, you are just wasting time. And that is a reason people don't get funded. Then recently, there has been another reason people are not getting funded. And I say this because I have seen real evidence of it from a funder. People are now using AI to write, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever, to write their grant applications. So the issue is that when you submit applications now, everybody is now smart. Everybody is now sounding like AI. So funders are now realizing that this is a big issue. And there was a funder who recently just said that they had to publish it online. And they said that they are now having to change the application process through, they are switching to nomination, who you know, right? Because people are now using too much AI. So everybody's sounding intelligent and they're finding it hard to differentiate real people from those who are actually doing the work on ground. Now, let's talk about the basics, right? The basics of a good grant application. This is the basics. It's not everything. It does not cover everything, right? Now, in order to win a grant, you need to have a very solid project. I will not be able to dive deep into this, but you need to have a project. I emphasize that at the beginning. This project might be your core business itself. It might be an initiative or a product or service you're looking to sort of implement. Okay. This is what you need. Now, you will then develop a proposal that covers these basics: the problem you're trying to solve, the need you have observed in the market, what your unique solution is, and the proof that you have to show that your solution works, your team, which includes yourself and a few other people, and highlighting the experiences you have, highlighting the expertise you have, highlighting some form of real tangible results, and then what sort of impact are you looking to create? What sort of outcomes do you want to see as a result of the implementation of your solution? Then you also need to emphasize really how this will be sustainable and how this is going to become profitable, especially if this will end up being a company or a business. These are basics. It's way more than this, but these are some of the basics of what a good grant proposal should highlight. Now, let's talk about something why some of the points I mentioned earlier matter. Number one, many SMEs or many people who apply for grants get rejected. So essentially, if 10 people apply for a grant, 9.5 will get rejected. I say 9.5. So what does that mean? It means that typically out of every 1,000 people who apply for grant, only the best of the best win. So out of 1,000 people, you might have like 10 people who win. So usually that's about 0.1%. I remember there was a program I applied for a couple of years ago. The total number of people who applied in Africa, I think we're about 1,000. Now, the funder wanted to finance 15 companies, 15 organizations. That was what they announced on press that, oh, we're going to finance 15 organizations from Africa, the whole of Africa. Guess what happened? By the time they were done with their screening, about 40 of us made it to what we call due diligence stage. When we got to the due diligence stage, they then requested some documentation. Guess what happens? Out of the 40 of us, only 7 people made it through. They literally have to be looking for people around to balance. They could only manage to find 3 people after they did a lot of recommendation, asking for referrals here and there. And at the end of the day, only 10 organizations get financed. The money is out there, but people don't know how to go after the funds. This is a very big issue that funders are seeing. Then another reason why the points I make are very important is because people don't even know how to structure strong proposals. So, and this is one of the reasons I started Fundraising Academy. observed that a lot of the people who are winning grants, or some, let me not say, well, some of the people who have a few bad eggs, right, who are winning grants, are actually not doing the work. Whereas the people who are doing the work are not winning the grants. So you see that sort of tension. So one of the reasons I started Fundraising Academy really was to create an institution that would teach people, that would support people on winning grants. People who are actually credible, people who are doing the work here in our country, Nigeria, wherever you're joining us from, and giving them the support they need to actually win. So that if we have more of these genuine people winning, you're going to see more funders wanting to deploy capital in our beloved countries here in Africa, you know. And then another reason why these points I'm making is very critical is because a lot of funders and investors ignore weak applications. So typically, you have 1,000 people who submit the application. Once your application does not meet some of the criteria, guess what happens? You get knocked off, right? They don't want to hear anything. They just move on, just because they are looking for the best of the best. Okay, so this is what we see. So here's what people think. If you can see my screen, you see a dot on my screen. People think that fundraising is a one-off thing. Oh, I win one grant. That is all. It's a one-time event. But really, that is not it. Fundraising, winning of grant is not a single dot. It is not a one-time gig. It is not a one-time event. There are organizations that, you know, someone says, if you want to get something done, give it to the person who is busy. So if you have 10 staff and you want something done, the person to give that work to is the person who is the busiest, because the busy people or the most effective people are very effective at getting things done. The people who are not busy are not as effective getting stuff done. Okay, so fundraising is not a single dot. It is not a one-time event. You need to be constantly raising money at least every 9 months or every year. You must be raising money every year. This is how it works. The more successful you become, the more money you want to raise. Even Dangote is still raising money. Let me repeat that again, so that everybody will hear. Even Dangote is still raising money. I remember years ago when Dangote, Alhaji Dangote, was setting up the factory at Obajana, the robotic factory at Obajana that makes cement. He raised over 900 million US dollars. And different people had to syndicate that deal. The banks had to come on board, different types of investors had to contribute money to finance that transaction. You know, recently now, he has set up the refinery in Lagos, right? And it was just recently announced that Dangote is looking to expand, right? So I use that. It's an outlier example, but the reason I use it is to help you understand that no matter who you are, you must raise money, and you will constantly be doing it regularly, because the more your business expands, the more your project becomes successful, your service becomes successful, you will need more money to keep on investing in what you do. So this is the crux of the matter. It is not a one-time event. Now, fundraising, this is how fundraising works. Actually, this is how it works. You need to connect several dots, right? And what does this mean? There are different things you need to do right in order to win grants, in order to become fundable, right? So it is the connection of these different things. You know, we'll talk about a few of them now, but the connection of these different things, you're able to tell your story right. You're able to have a clear description of the problem you're solving. You're able to have some attraction I have, or how do I measure impact? You're able to have support. It is a connection of these things that helps people to win grants and make fundability, right? Becoming fundable. Just want to jump into winning grants, you know, and other sort of things. If the smart CEOs, the smart funders focus on fundability, right? It is not there is money out there, but people are not qualified for it. So your job is not to fall into, oh, I've not won grant, I've not do this. No, that's not your job. Your job is to like, what do these guys need, and where am I in that journey, and how can I become a fundable entity? Because once you become fundable, the script changes. People now start rushing after you. I'm telling you, if tomorrow Dangote or Olimolu decides that they want to launch a particular company, immediately you're going to have people lined up. Even some of you here, listen to me, you close your bank account to give them money. Why? Because you know that these people are fundable. They will not run with your money. So this is what you should focus on. I always like using this illustration. I'm holding a pen. When you hold one end of a pen, you are unconsciously holding the other end of the pen. Can you see it? So if this end of the pen is grant money or investment money you're trying to raise, fundability is the other edge. So when you hold this, you also control the other edge of the pen. Okay, so focus on fundability before fundraising. Now let's talk about a few things you can do right in order to become grant ready and all that. There are more than this, but I just want to emphasize like the simplest part of them so that you can immediately understand. Number one, you need some form of legal and compliance. For example, you need to have something like a CAC. Now, this is not always compulsory. If you are still at an idea phase, the funder would say you don't need to have a registered business under their eligibility criteria. However, in some other cases, a lot of funders will say, we need you to submit your registration document. I remember there was a grant there's a grant we're trusting God to get soon. And they had to write back to say, oh, we need your registration certificate. We then sent our company registration certificate just last month. And then they wrote back again and they were like, oh, and this company was registered in 2018, right? It is possible that the company is not operating. So they said, send us evidence that you are still operating now. I was like, oh my God, what do they want? So we now have to go and get our tax documents. We have paid our FIRS tax. We have also paid our Lagos state tax, right? So we're able to get our tax certificates and other sort of things to provide, I don't know, I'm getting the background noise. Can you guys hear me? Thelma, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Are you getting any background noise?
We can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, good. So, like I was saying, we're able to quickly provide the tax information and submit to them. So that sort of serves as an evidence, to these funders that, okay, you guys are operational. And again, the reason I'm emphasizing this, there are different ways funders verify that you're active, right? Because we're having cases of people who, for example, they registered a company 10 years ago, but they are not doing anything, but they are still using that company to apply for grants. And they are not doing nothing, they are not doing, right? So payment of tax is a way to show that, audited accounts for some people is a way to show. Now, another issue I'm saying is that people set up businesses with CAC, but they don't have bank accounts for the business. They are still using their personal bank account to collect payments. It will surprise you, right? And that's not something we want to see. If you have a business registered, go to the bank and open a bank account. And when you offer a service, use that bank account to receive payments. This is very, very important. These are basic things, and it's simple to do. If you have a food company, as much as possible, get a NAFDAC number if you can, right? And part of the reason for this, because as you you target higher amounts of money, the requirements to get those money gets higher. Do you understand? Increases, the criteria increases because people want to be sure that if we give this person money, they'll be able to sort of like utilize it. So let's move on to the second part of the readiness game. clean bookkeeping. So what do I mean by clean bookkeeping? I have observed not once, not twice, that a lot, in fact, this is one of the biggest issue we're seeing right now in the country, that a lot of people don't keep good accounting records. For example, you spend money to buy recharge card. You spend money to transport yourself. You paid light bill for your office. You don't have the receipts. You don't have it written somewhere. You're just running the business on your personal income. That's not how it should be, right? So it is very important that at least you have a notebook where you are writing down your expenses. You are collecting receipts and filing them, because really, if you wanted to, you could hire an auditor to say, okay, auditor, come and take a look at my books, right, at my records. And this auditor can look at what you've written on paper, look at your bank account statement, and create what we call an audited account. Nowadays, a lot of funders are going to request for your bank account statement, even though people are forging some of these things, right? But typically, they will ask for your bank account statement. Part of what the funder can do will be to say, okay, we love what you're doing as a company and all those things. Send us your last 12 months or 24 months bank account statement. Why? They want to see how you're using money. So for those of you who you use your company money to go and buy moto and you are flexing around, okay, please avoid it, okay? I know some of those things are done out of ignorance. You're using your company money to pay your personal expenses, when even though you are the owner of the business, you need to be on salary. Okay, so for example, my company recently won $500,000, right? Just barely about $500,000 just a few months ago in grants, right? And some people, I don't know how they think, but it's the way we Africans or Nigerians sometimes think. They think the money is in my account. It's not. That money is not even my money. The money is in the account of the company. The company has its own projects that it has proposed to the funder that it wants to execute, and that money is dedicated to that. What do I gain personally? My salary. That is what I gain. I get my salary. If the company decides to pay bonus or so, then I also gain that. If the business becomes big, profitable at scale, then I'm going to reap the benefits later. So it's not like, oh, somebody announced they won $1 million. People just imagine that, oh my God, this guy has made it. Yeah, he has made it in a way, but that money is not for personal consumption. It is for the executives. And this is what differentiates some of us who are genuine from the people who win grants. And then suddenly, like you hear in Nigeria, oh, a startup shuts down, right? A startup shut, and you see some of those things on TechPoint, TechCabal, and all those things. I'm not saying that this is the only reason, but part of the reason, when you dig deeper into some of those organizations, you'll see that, okay, this person got money from an investor, and suddenly he's now a big man, right? He has now bought vehicles up and down. He's now moving around in Lekki, enjoying life. Eating shawarma. I'm not saying eating shawarma is bad, but you guys understand what I mean now. They are now flexing now. They know you're a Yahoo person if that's what you're doing, right? That money was actually meant for a project. You said you are going to scale your product. You said you are going to do 1, 2, 3. You need to do those things, right? So it is very important to be credible. And one of the ways you can be credible is to keep good financial records and report it. Do you understand? Report it. For example, today is Wednesday. 2 days ago, I got an email from one of my investors that say, hey, we're doing some financial whatever in their fund, right? I should send them my financial records. So I have to send audited accounts to them. I have to send, sometimes they will just say that they want to see your bank account statements, right? So I send to them. Why? There's nothing to hide. Do you understand? Even if you're a tax organization, this is the account, take. Well, and the only reason I can do that confidently is because of good financial records. I separate concerns. I collect my salary. If I want to spend, I use it for personal expenses. The company's money is used for its own expenses. There is difference between me as CEO and the company as an entity. I'm sort of emphasizing on this because I know this is an area I've seen a lot of shortfall, and I want to help you sort of prevent it. Something else. This is not compulsory, but I'm beginning to see a trend where if you come and say that, oh, I want to execute this project, it's going to cost $100,000. Some funders are going to ask you what will be your contribution. They want to see you have a skin in the game. Do you understand? They want to see you have a skin in the game. So in this particular case, you need to make some contributions, right? And it does not have to be cash. It could be your time commitment. It could be the time of your staff. It could be that you're contributing land or your property, or some in-kind contributions you are making. So you need to be able to emphasize the value you bring to the table and how much, what percentage of that compared to the overall cost of executing the project. Let's talk. Let me talk about something here. Project design. For me, this is a breakout stuff, right? In fact, I serve as a fundraising expert and consultant. Yeah, I find that you will see universities or individuals or SMEs, people trying to raise grant, but they are just applying for the grant for their business. They don't have a project that can win. This one is the Baba of the Baba of the Baba of the Baba, is the king of. Do you understand? You need to have a well-designed project, well-articulated, to be published or sent to a potential funder. This is very, very critical when it comes to fundraising. Okay, you have to design a project that sort of makes sense. And then maybe something else I would like to emphasize here would be that in order to get this right, part of what you can do would be to sort of explore, for example, things like design thinking, right? Sitting down with an expert to say, okay, this is what this funder is asking for. How do what sort of ideas can I come up with that would make sense to this potential funder based on their criteria? Okay, we can go into other topics, but I just really wanted to focus on these core thematic areas. Now, this is part of the reason why I set up Fundraising Academy, to help people tell their story, to help you tell your story, to help you become fundable, and to help you win funding successfully. Fundraising Academy, this is what we do. Yeah. So typically, I sit down with the students and go through what their business is, understand it in depth. And then part of what I try to do during the academy is to sort of help them understand how fundraising works A to Z, end to end. Now, having done that, we then sort of do like some form of grant readiness assessment to understand where the gaps are for each of those businesses. Then once that is done, part of what I then help them to do is to sort of design projects or programs that could potentially win grants, and even give feedback on existing projects or businesses that could win grants. Now, once that is done, we actually now apply. In the last cohort we did for the Fundraising Academy, everybody, that was part of the, like, you will apply for grant there and there. Do you understand? Because I don't want people to come learn about grants, but they don't do something about raising capital. So they get that sort of hands-on support, including with drafting the grant applications and drafting other supporting documents like pitch deck and co. That is needed to win the grant. So it's a proven step-by-step system program that can help you win grants. And we'll also talk about equity too, because some people may want to sell equity in their company. That's also something that can be covered and sort of customized to you as an individual. It's a one-month program. I'm inviting everybody, come join. It's an intensive program. We have weekly live coaching. Now, I don't teach fundraising or grant writing as the way I earn income. No, I do this because I want genuine people to be able to learn how to raise capital. That's my agenda. I want more people who are doing the real work to be able to apply for this funding and to win it. So this program only happens on weekend. On weekdays, I'm running my company. I'm not doing this. On weekends, I'll sit down with you. On Saturday, maybe Sunday, but sit down with you to teach you how grant writing works. Then during the week, I'll give you assignments. So assignments, I'll say, okay, this is what I want your company to do, what your business to do, and then those are the things you would work on, including you and your staff. Okay. It's a very intensive program. And then I'm going to do a comprehensive grant application review, and you will submit those grants. Okay. And then we have we run like a community type for each cohort. Here we do some form of WhatsApp accountability group. So again, this is a very comprehensive program that would help you raise capital, that will help you just even understand this grant rating thing. How does it really work end to end? So I'm inviting you to participate. Come join Fundraising Academy. And I want to thank Innovate for sort of opening this up to everybody who is on the call. The program is 1 month. Let me go into the details of what happens and what you get from this program. In addition to what I've said earlier, you get coaching calls. We're going to do group coaching on weekends all throughout the month. Typically once or twice every weekend is customized to each cohort. You're going to get application support. Ideally, I want you to apply for at least one grant during the program. And after the program, you're shooting more applications out, right? So it's a very aggressive program for those people who want to, I must win grants in 2026. This is the program for you. You get templates, you get supported. And again, this covers grants. I'm happy to go into equity, loans, and contracts for those people who need to sort of do that, okay? And this is a place where you also get some form of accountability. What is the cost of the program? The cost of the program is $799,000. But thanks to Innovate, right? I'm opening this up for 555, right? So if you register early or you lock in a spot under the Innovate program, you would get 555, okay? 555,000. That will be the cost. The deadline is December 20th. Want to lock in, those who will be interested, please come join. And this program, if you're not even able to sort of join in Q1, the first set of program would run in Q1, right? In around February next year. Now, we do this every quarter during the year. So it happens only 4 times in a year, all right? So make sure you join for January so that as you're entering 2026, you can essentially just raise capital or be prepared to raise capital for 2026. Now, how do you join this program? You can pay at once. That's fantastic. If you cannot pay at once, you can pay in 2 or 3 installments. That's also fine. Send 200, 300, whatever you're able to afford. And then it's sort of locking your spot. For those people who do not pay on time, they will have to pay the full fee. Okay. But if you want to get the early registration, then you lock in your spot with a deposit. Just a small deposit locks in your spot. Now, once you pay, we'll send you a form. You will need to complete the form, right? It's a very short form where you just upload your evidence of payments. This special discount is only for this deadline. That's it. That is it. All fees helps you to secure your spot. They are non-refundable. However, we've only had, out of hundreds of students, we've only had once or twice somebody was pregnant and they couldn't join. So usually we'll say, okay, you can join the next cohort, right? Or you can use the fees, the cash to apply towards other FRACAD services. So this is the program. We've gotten, like, every time the cohort runs, I always get like a 95 to 99% 5-star review. Full satisfaction from our clients every single time. It's a great program. Now, some of you might be asking, oh, how do I make payment? Here's the bank account. Providence Bank, FRACAD Limited. FRACAD stands for Fundraising Academy, FR Academy, Fundraising Academy Limited. Account number 9640472338. Once you make a deposit there, the next thing you do is that you will see this form. If you type this on your browser, bit.ly/43FCLIW, right, it will take you to the form where you can just upload your evidence of payment. And once you do that, somebody is going to contact you from our team, and we'll let you know when we're getting started 1 to 2 weeks before the classes start. Okay. It's a very straightforward program. For those of you who are abroad, you can pay using Stripe. These are the links. Just put the link. It's going to ask you for your card details, and then you can sort of make payments. Well, I'm excited to support you. Grant deadlines are closing fast. I want you to stop applying blindly. I want you to get expert help, and that expert help is going to come from Fundraising Academy. Now, there are some funders I've worked with, either I've won an award from, one grant from Gates Foundation, Google.org, GIZ, Bayer Foundation, even the US Embassy program in Nigeria. I won multiple awards from London Business School, Foster School of Business. Let's not keep on mentioning these things, but I just want you to be very confident that you're getting the best of the best of the best of the best. Again, if you just want to do a one-on-one session with me, that's also fine. I'm happy to have that arranged. For 30 minutes, it's just 200K. For 1 hour, it's just 300K. If you want to talk longer, it's just 400K for a 90-minute session with me. And so essentially what I do here is I could just sit down with you to sort of like look at your proposal, your project, and give you a specific diagnosis for your organization. Okay. So this is what we offer today. Now, I would like to pause here so that I can take questions from everyone. Thank you very much. Let's take questions. I would like to hear from you and take questions. I know some of you have questions, and I am keen to sort of answer them. So let's get the questions, people. Okay, just raise your hands up if you need to ask a question. I can see Nafisat has raised her hands up. Nafisat, please go ahead.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Nafisat.
Hello, can you hear me?
Clearly. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for this wonderful one. It's so educative, and you've opened our eyes to a lot of things that are we don't understand about grant application. Just one direct question to you. I want to know what exactly you do that earn you all these grants that you have won. Intellectual
Okay. Good
technology.
question. So it depends. So for I can start with some of the most recent ones. So we just recently won about $500,000. And what would that funding be going towards? Is an unrestricted grant going to my organization to sort of help us expand our capacity. So what we do essentially is that if you're a poultry farmer, right, we would finance you. Now, we observe that in Nigeria, a lot of people who have poultry farms, right, you might see someone who has a farm that can grow 5,000 chickens, but because they don't have money, they're probably just doing 500 beds or 1,000, right? You will even see some farms that are even closed completely, right? And so part of what we're trying to do is to help farmers, improve their production volume, number one. Another thing we're trying to do is to help them improve their productivity. So what does that mean? We are observing that a lot of people who do farming, they don't know how to keep good records. Do you understand? Somebody is feeding their chickens. They are not tracking the weight of the birds on a daily basis. And so, if you are not, for example, measuring the weight of your birds every day, like every day, right? You will not know when your birds are falling sick. Then all of a sudden, somebody will just say, "Oh, all the chickens on my farm died." No. If you are measuring the weight of your birds, right, it would be growing on a daily basis. And if you observe that a bird that weighed, for example, 1.3 kilogram, right? 3 days ago, on Monday, it was 1.3 kilogram. Today, it is 1.25 or 1.2 kilogram. It means that that bird has lost weight, and it means that that bird is sick, right? Something is happening on that farm. So immediately you can call your vets or your animal scientists to come and investigate, and you will be able to quickly identify that these birds are sick. And sometimes some of these animals, when they are sick, they don't manifest it. By the time they start manifesting it, it's already too late. Before you just know, 100 chickens dead, and that person goes bankrupt, right? So this type of granular on the ground support is what we provide. Then something else we do is that we go to banks, right, financial institutions, and sort of pitch these farmers to say, hey, this guy needs money to go, right? And then we negotiate with them to get debt that we can then pass on to the farmer. And then finally, once a farmer is approved for funding, right, part of what we then do would be to sort of go to the people who supply the raw materials, right, to say, okay, we have this farmer in location A, we want them to get 500 bags of feed, 100 bags of feed, right? And then we negotiate with them the rates and all those things. And the farmer can either come to that location to pick up the feed, or we send it to them. So these are the things we do. So the grants actually enables us to sort of expand our capacity. In the past, when I started my career as a social entrepreneur, some of the grants I won were around things like feed innovation, right? So I was very curious about the fact that the cost of animal feeds keeps going up and up and up. So I was like, you know what? I want to create a low-cost feed innovation. So I started this from Zara. So part of what I tried to do was to explore the use of mangoes. A lot of mangoes do go bad in Makurdi and parts of the country. So the kernel of the mango could be used, right? And then you have water hyacinth, which grows in the Niger Delta region on top of a lot of the water bodies. We use that for feed formulation and all those sort of things. So I did win a number of awards for some of those. Then over time, I then realized that it is not really about the innovation in terms of like product innovation. The fact is that this guy does not have the money to buy it. So if the bag of feed was 5,000 naira, the guy does not have the money to buy it. If you make it cheaper or it's expensive, it doesn't matter. And this was what sort of influenced my thinking to innovate around how can we finance this farmer, irrespective of whether the feed is cheap or not, right? And so a lot of the innovation has now been around enabling access to capital, enabling access to farmers. So for example, I mentioned that if you know someone or if you are into the large scale purchase of chicken, for example, part of what we can do with them be to say farmers in our network can now sort of supply. So we can offer credit to you, and then the credit comes to your organization to support the purchase of chickens and all that from farmers. So these are the sort of things that this is for my own organization. I can communicate this openly, right? Because I really want you to know, so that in case you know someone or a group of farmers or things like that, or you have connection to some agencies who might be interested in collaborating, please let me know. I'll be interested. Other grants I've won, I remember we did a grant with the U.S. Embassy. I think it was the U.S. Embassy in Lagos. Yeah, Lagos, Abuja. We won 2 grants from them. Part of what we did back then was a training of trainers program. So people who do entrepreneurship training in the country, right? We did help, like, sort of improve their capacity, train them up very well. And the embassy came, like was it the head of the consulate or so? Came down to actually see the program, right? On, like seeds, the implementation of the program. Well, these are a few. I might not be able to mention everything because I've been doing this for more than 10 years. And one thing I'm so glad about is that I started with just an idea, like just an idea at the base, and then gradually God lifted me over the last couple of years. So back then when we started, if you win $5,000, you're very happy, 10,000, you're happy. Today we don't do all this, just leave it for the new generation coming up. So we're not talking about millions and all that right now, or hundreds of thousands of dollars at least, to be able to say, to get our interests, and all that. Okay.
I have another question. The name is just user, so please just unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah. If you have a question, please kindly unmute yourself.
Hello, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Can you hear me? Can I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mr. Blessing, thank you very much. I link your name with your attainment. I say it's in good sync. You are Mr. Blessing, and you have been blessed all through in so many of these projects. Congratulations, sir. We hope to also pick up that part of your name too, as we endeavor to do the same. But now my own area is this list of so many people that are giving you grants. There was the last slide, or was it second to the last, where you have their logo. I was trying to write them down, but I couldn't write more than 3 before the slide went off. Is there a way we can get...
Okay, that's fine. The video recording will be shared.
Okay.
The video
Yeah,
recording will be shared. And then something else, I think something else, we're releasing a portal that would have list of all these grants, right? That you can then use, you can apply to. So we're going to have hundreds of them there. We also right now have compiled a database of over 4,000 investors globally, also that you can tap into. So we'll be releasing the platform. Let's see, most likely next month or January, it's going to become open. So if you guys want, once it is ready, you can get an SMS or an email. I share a form or something. If you're interested, you can just sort of like fill it out, and then once we roll it out, you would get invited.
Thank you. Maybe you give us your email address too, so that we could always be in touch or ask when that list will be out.
That's fine.
Either your email address or your contact.
Yeah, I'll be happy to share that. That's not an issue. I will share that on the screen shortly. But let's take more questions while that is ongoing.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Chiwendu. Thank you so much, Mr. Blessing. It was really quite an enlightening exposition you gave to us this afternoon. I really learned a lot. Okay, my question majorly is with respect to I think during the course of the lecture, you talked about, when we come up with an idea, for instance, that we are more likely to have a positive feedback on our grant writing if we are able to demonstrate that we have done something practical about that idea, right? Now, take for instance, that we have been able to do something practical about that idea, as like we're working on it, to demonstrate that we have a practical knowledge of it. But my concern is this. For instance, I have an idea, about a device, that I want to come up with. But we just did research on that. Like my students in school conducted the research during her project, and then we came up with certain findings. And from that findings, we are now coming to terms that, okay, such and such device could help in solving this problem. But we are not engineering students, we are business oriented. So it's not like we have any knowledge as far, what to put together to be able to bring this device, into reality. So how do we now incorporate that into our grant writing? Because for us, it's just an idea. We are just in the ideation phase. So does it mean that just having the idea is not enough for us to be able to write a grant? With respect to that, until we have something tangible, like maybe a product that we could present as a prototype. So I just want a sort of clarification around that, sir.
Okay. That's a great question you asked. I would say that when you have a what do you call it, a project like that, an idea, and you're trying to apply for grants, again, think of it like a law case you're going to court, right? Do you understand? Think of it like you're going to court. So the reason you are not applying alone, always think like your customer, right? What does the customer want? In this case, your client is the donor or investor who is funding you. What does that person want? Right? It's just like you're a lecturer, you set questions and you expect the students to fill in what do you call it? The responses, right? Now, you need to be very, very clear, right? To sort of emphasize, I want 1, 2, 3, from you. So when the student fills the questions, you are sort of scoring them against that criteria. So what does the funder want, right? And what is the best way to provide those sort of details to the funder? So in summary, what I'm just trying to say is that when you are dealing with a funder, always make sure that you are communicating with maybe want to get and communicating in a way that meets the criteria, and always assume that there is somebody else who is writing exactly the proposal, the same sort of people who are applying and all those sort of things. And so the way to differentiate yourself, right? So, for example, the first major international award I won was from the University of Washington, Michael G. Foster School of Business, Global Social Entrepreneurship Competition. And the first time I applied to that program, I didn't win. I came out among top 15 in the world, right? But what now helped me to win, I came back on that program the following year. It was the second time I won. What happened was that the first time when I went to the US for that program, I made it to top 15. I didn't even make it to top 5 because when you get to the US, you run another round again. Then only the top 5 will now pitch in the finals. I went to this program. I don't see lights. I didn't make it to the top 5. So, however, what it did for me that really helped my life was that it was like, don't be offended. Don't be angry that you did not win or that you were rejected, right? Instead, go and sit down, right? At the front of the hall, right? Behind the judges and listen. Ask yourself, why did this person make it to the top 5? Why did I not make it into that top 5? And as I sat down and watched, I now observed, only myself, I can think that, oh, these people deserve it. Why? I observed that those of us who made it to the top 15, we had fantastic ideas and all these things. But when it came to who they would give money to, they were now looking for something else. Okay, you that say this is your idea, how far have you gone with it? Have you done something about it? What progress have you made? What you would, even human being, let's say you wanted to take a bus, right? A bike, you're going to you want to take a bike or a bus or transportation, you need to enter a moving vehicle, not the one part that you'll be looking for the driver. Okay, yeah, you come out. No, you will stand by the road, at least in Nigeria, that's what we do, and you would wait, you wave a bus that is already moving. So the people who have already, who don't need the funder are the ones that get the funding. Let me just put it that way. The people who can show that I'm trying, I'm already making effort. Then, if with an extra $50,000, if you take me from here to there, they are more likely to win than the people who just wait for money to come from somewhere to come and help them kickstart, something that they are not ready to even, contribute to. Do you understand?
Yeah, Yeah, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
I hope that is helpful.
Yes, it's helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, and then I think I'm going to share a quick form now on the chat for everybody. Please, if you're interested in doing the Fundraising Academy, please just fill that form up quickly, and my team would reach out to you. Okay, now let's get more questions. I see Theophilus. I see Omori.
All right.
Please go
Thank
ahead.
you, Mr. Blessing, for today's section. I have two questions. One, you talked about one of the major problems of entrepreneurs, which is record keeping. Though I normally do mine with Excel, which is proactive for me. I would like to ask, I know there are apps, free and paid amongst others, that help ease out record keeping. So do you mind sharing some of the ones, or how best do you do your, sorry, I said record keeping, bookkeeping, how best do you carry out your bookkeeping for your various sectors? Also too, I would also, oh Jesus, why am I forgetting the second question? I forgot my second question actually. I'll drop it on the box when I remember. Thank you.
No problem. When you just come back, raise your hand up again. Well, for bookkeeping, I personally use QuickBooks for my company today. We use QuickBooks for all our bookkeeping today. So we also use things like Excel, because there are certain things that QuickBooks may not be able to capture, and there's no software out there. So we use QuickBooks, we use Google Sheets. Then we also have a platform for record keeping ourselves. It's called Cleaver, cleaver.org, cleva.org. Now, we built that specifically for farms, actually. However, if your business does inventory, those you offer inventory, so you can also use it for that, essentially, and it will help you analyze your profitability and all that. And it's just simply for basic bookkeeping. You can use to create receipts, invoices, raw materials, and all those sort of things. Yeah. Then why for the people who do farming, they can then create pen. That would just be the main difference. But if you run a number SME, you can also sort of use Cleaver. It's CLEVA .org. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys quickly, just so that people can see it.
All right.
Yeah. And it's very cheap to use. So this is the website. You guys can see it. So if you come there, it's the same manage like a boss. So we designed it for poultry farms, like I said, and fish farms. But if you are just running your normal SME, you can just use the features this is how it works. You can create inventory. You can analyze your data to see the profitability of your business and all that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir. My second question.
And then for those who, you can reach me on WhatsApp. This is my contact, WhatsApp only. Yeah, you can reach me on WhatsApp. And this is my email. So we're going to share the video. Don't worry, just in case. Yeah, Mohammed Nuru, please go ahead with your question. Or Theophilus. Okay, Theophilus first, then we'll go to Mohammed. Quick.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Super excited to be here. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly I can. Theophilus, good to see you.
Yes, thank you, sir. My question is, for me and what I do, I've been able to gain recognition and also validation of work, including some awards. But for what I do, how do I translate, these awards into winning of the grants in terms of,
Sorry, can you repeat that? Your voice is low, Theophilus.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes,
is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. I said, my question is, how do I translate, winning awards and validation of my project or my product to actually making money for my project or winning grants? I have been able to, gain recognition and also awards for the work that I do. How do I translate that into actually winning grants for it. For instance, I would love to partner with certain organizations like the WHO, UN, DANE, which are into food and nutrition. But I do not see applications, like a call for applications for grants. Is it that I am to maybe send an introduction of what I do, and that's how I would be able to discover if there are grants? Thank you.
So, if I heard you well, you were asking about how do you sort of balance of where I was and being able to run a business. And I think that's what I was able to pick up. So, well, the way to go about this would be is pretty simple. So for me now, and this is part of what I teach, I am a strong believer that you should not apply for grants just for the purpose of applying for grants. You should apply for grants just because you need it to support what you're currently doing. My philosophy around this is that if you're running a business, run the business as a profitable venture with or without grants. Assuming you don't win grants today, it should not affect you at all, right? It should not affect you at all, right? So that is my thinking. So therefore, you need to make sure that your business fundamentals are making sense in terms of like, oh, what is my cost of production, right? I'm managing those, and then what is my sales price? I'm managing those. Therefore, grant funding should then come to enhance what you are already doing. This thing makes you powerful. I'm telling you, I cannot tell you how many times it has happened recently where I have either had to decline a funder, or if a funder declines, I tell them that, well, I think there's something you're not understanding about what I'm doing, right? So, and that gives me, I sort of like have very, by God's grace, strange confidence about what I'm doing, right? And that's because whether I get grant or not, my business is working, right? So I would encourage you to be in that sort of position of strength. Forget about grants per se, and make sure this business is making sense. Then use grants to enhance it. Otherwise, what will happen is that you'll be applying for grants up and down, and you'll not be able to do the core business itself, and you'll be waiting. And you don't want to be the one waiting at all, because the one waiting is disadvantaged. Why? He has already given away his ability to be a strong leader. He has outsourced it to the funder. You have now put yourself in a position of beggarliness. You're waiting, and those who apply for grants are not beggars. You are not. You have something that is working, and you are giving the funder an opportunity to participate in what is working. I remember when applied for Google grants back then, and then they sent somebody to come and investigate, and to just sort of make sure that we are for real and all that. And I told the funder who came, I said, he was asking some questions and all those things. There was a way the conversation went. I now told him that I think people don't give us these grants. You have made a big mistake. And why did I say so? I say because we're among the credible organizations in this country who would help you deliver on the impacts, essentially, that you're looking for, right? So we are your ideal guarantee to sort of execute this particular project. Recently, we got a major contract with a UN parastatal, right? FAO and all that we've been executing on. And one of the feedback they have been giving us has been like, you guys are high quality. Kai. Let's act like they call me Mr. Quality now. So, and why is that? It is because of the quality of work, we have done for them in the execution of that project. Do you understand? So, it makes the funders happy to know that, okay, we're giving money to someone that can actually get the job done and do it in the right quality that is at par with their level of excellence. I hope that is helpful, Theophilus.
Yes, sir, it is. Thank you.
When Theophilus, right, how much money are you looking for to move to the next level at minimum? Do you know? Okay, I lost him there. So I'll move on to Akinola Popula, and then we'll take Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blessing. Yes.
Yes.
I'm back with respect to the accounting aspect. You know, as a scientist, we have written the proposal, we have the grant, and we are executing it, and receipts are piling up, and we are not in that field of tidying up receipts. Now, my question is this: do the sponsors, how would they feel if there is a line in the budget which wasn't in your original budget, that you are paid so amount to auditor to help you tidy up the account? Is it acceptable?
It's
That's my question.
now. Yeah, if you have an auditor, I mean, auditors don't really charge a lot, right? That's fine. People want to see accountability, and all you just need to do is to say, hey, if it's not a significant expense, I don't think they will care about it, so long it's not costing you half of the grant or a major expense. If it's just something negligible, why not? You just pay them. They do the job, and you don't need to make. In fact, they'll be more impressed that you did audited accounts and all those sort of things. Do you understand? So it just helps to clean house. Nobody's going to be upset.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Mohammed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blessing.
You're welcome.
It's quite an educated talk, and I really learned a lot from the training. My question is this: is there how can we identify kind of a fake grantor? I'm asking it because there was a time somebody sent a link to me, and we are applying for something related to USAID. Well, along the line, we are going well, and all the application went well. They send a message, receive all this thing. But at a point, they later send a message that there is one certificate that they said we should present. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
That we should present a certificate. Then we talked about it, and it's something related to international, not the CAC or something of that. It's something different. So after then, they later send another link that if we don't have the certificate, we have to check in so link. We went to the link, and the next thing is for them to be asking us that we should pay like $100 before we can get the certificate. But I became skeptical about the process, and from the beginning, it looked real. USAID logo, everything was okay. The communication was going real. So I started to have to go online to see what people are saying about this before I now even realized that this thing is not, I'm in the wrong call. So I'm asking if there are other measures one can easily use to identify a wrong call so that somebody should have fall in. Then my other question is, you didn't really talk about monitoring and evaluations that always come from the grantors, how to monitor the project, all this. And so if you can just give us a little hint about how one can help in monitoring M&E for a project.
Okay, fantastic. So let's talk about first one, tracking fake programs. In fact, some of the smartest people fall for it. There was one that recently happened. It was an opportunity that was widely published, and people applied for it. I think a lot out of desperation and all that. Part of how I sort of track that is that I look for history. Who has won this grant before? This particular grant, who has won it before? Right? And then if nobody has won it before, this organization, what have they been doing before? Right? Like what are they doing? Some of these that, can you help me, Tama, with that person? So some of these scammers recently, in fact, the one I saw, I've forgotten the name, I could pull it out potentially. What they did was that they set up a Facebook page, social media page. So they've been publishing pictures and news report and all the thing about they're doing this, doing that, and they were associating themselves like a parastatal of African Union or something. So as I went on the page, I realized that this is not the African Union page, right? So these guys are so smart. They've been sort of copying news up and down and putting pictures, random pictures up and down, and all those sort of things. So when I looked at it, I was like, no, this one has scam. This one is scammers. Then on the website, they put that they're going to be awarding social amount to social amount in grants, and all that. Then somewhere along the line, in fact, what's even worse is that they ask for your company documents, right? The biggest issue I have with that is that once you upload your documents, then they can now use your own documents now to start applying for grants. You see it. So you need to be very careful with check for history, who has won this before, make sure that they are real, actual human beings and real, actual organizations. If it is a first time that thing is happening, make sure that it is a credible organization. And we all have access to Google. Check, and verify. So those are the two things I use. Then finally, almost all donors I know, they don't charge for application at all. They don't. Anything, pay this, they don't. Now, it is possible that you apply to a program and then maybe to get to the next stage, they are asking for, let's say, SON certificate or NAFDAC certificate. Now, if they want to, they can put a link to like a NAFDAC form, all right, to say, hey, this is NAFDAC's official website. Go here to apply for your NAFDAC and pay NAFDAC. Do you understand? So I would probably be curious with the US aid something. Was it a third party? And was that third party credible? Right? If it was a third party organization and that is the actual service they offer, then you will need to do that. There was was it a grant or something you're trying to? Okay, it was earlier this year. Google insisted that all apps on Play Store need to have a DON certificate. So it was not a grant anyway, but they insisted all apps must have DON certificate. And to get that DON certificate, how to pay to DON's Lagos a separate money, and then they issued the certificate, and then we sent it to Google before, I think almost all companies in Nigeria had to do that. So some you might find out something like that, but it's up to you to sort of always verify. Do you understand? Let's take the next question from Amori. Please, I just dropped the form on the chat. You can fill the form if you're interested in the academy, and then we're going to contact you.
All right. Thank you very much. I remember this other question I wanted to ask. In line with the documents you listed for finances, which
Tell my head share it too on the group here, just in case. Yeah, go ahead, Amori.
So I wanted to ask, in line with the tax payments, some tax something that you posted among your slides. That you're talking about financial document that might be needed. Can you briefly talk about how you make your tax payment? Because from the onset, I noticed that if you're not having certain revenue, you're not supposed to be paying your tax, amongst other factors. And with the forthcoming tax poala coming to Nigeria in 2 months' time, everyone being skeptical, exultant, and all that. Can you just give us a breakdown on how you sort out your tax aspect for your organization? Thank you.
Yeah, well, so we've been doing that quite consistently for a few years. So essentially, there are all these sort of like tax consultants or people who are familiar with the tax process. So typically, and your auditor can help facilitate that. So we just call in the auditor. They run their audits, they run the calculation computations on how much you need to pay for tax, and then they either do the tax payment for you themselves. Other times the what do you call it? The tax organization, the tax consultants would recommend they'll go pay. you know. But if you don't have access to these things, you can just walk straight to the tax office. Almost every town has one. If you search, you'll see they all have like tax office and say, hey, I would like to pay my tax. What do I do? Somebody's going to guide you, actually. Another thing you can do is to check for the tax office phone number in your state. If you call them, somebody will pick, and if you tell them, hey, this is what I'm trying to do, I need guidance, or can you connect me to someone? They always have people that they can connect you with who are you know, yeah, who can support you actually. Yeah, so you understand?
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. It's expensive, it's not paying the tax itself, and then it starts compiling. Okay, I think someone's hands are all user. After that, we'll go to the chat box to see the questions.
All right, good afternoon,
there.
Mr. Blessing.
Good.
It's an
Yeah, good
amazing
afternoon.
lecture. I learned a lot, and you've quite achieved a lot too. So my question is, what thematic area do you think can win grants easily? Because there are a lot of areas of focus, and you've mentioned agri-tech and Google, whatever. So what thematic area do you feel can win grants easily?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. My conviction is that anything can win grants if it is well presented. Yeah, of course, you would find that people who are doing agriculture, for example, just because there are a lot of funders in that space, you may see more frequency there. You might also observe that people who are doing health, some specific type of empowerment programs, win grants. However, my experience has taught me that people who have, it doesn't matter the type of idea, usually the issue I see why people don't really win grants would be that people don't want to change, right? So you're running this particular business or NGO, and maybe in order for you to make it more structured for funding, it might require making certain adjustments. You know, that might become an issue. So people may not be that flexible. So you are an impasse, right? Or as it stands still. Something else I observe would be lack of traction. So if, for example, you are not making progress, you're not achieving something for your company or so, what happens is that after some time, 6 months, 1 year, it becomes harder to win grants, right? Just because you are at a standstill, right? You're not really, those sort of things makes organizations less attractive to potential funding. You
All right.
understand?
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Chepe. Sorry, I just have to chip the second question, sir. At what stage of MVP can one also get granted? Because in some write-ups, you see they will ask of MVPs and those also making fractions and all that. At what stage of MVP?
Well, for example, I only took $50,000 grants a couple of years ago. We did not have like a full product back then. So what we had was essentially a service that was operational on the field. But in terms of the core tech itself, we didn't have like a physical MVP you could see. But we already sort of like engaging with the clients and having serious traction on the field, right? So the reason I answer that way is because the definition of MVP changes over time. Yesterday, I saw a post. I don't know if you guys know Fred, this Fred from Fireflies. There's this AI app that helps with tracking, that does meeting notes taking and all those sort of things. And the CEO said that the first, so how the app works is that Once you set up a meeting like this, the AI will join the meeting, right? And take notes and send to everybody by time, or the organizer by time they're done. However, what they were doing was that the AI joined, but it's not actually an AI. It was the CEO and his partner that were manually taking notes. They were just on mute. So people would think, oh, it's AI doing this work, but it was actually they themselves. And they did that for 100 plus meetings before they were able to even build out that particular product. So why did I mention this? The definition of MVP changes. The most important thing is traction. What have you achieved? What have you done? What have you achieved? That is where you want to build momentum. Otherwise, there's a way I will answer this question now. Somebody will be misled into saying they want to go and build technology. They want to build this app, they want to build this device, and then they will not make any progress. We just spend the next 6 months or 1 year building, and they will have nothing commercial to show. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah,
So
thank
let's
you.
take, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I know there were a number of questions on the chat. So the program costs 555. Yeah, somebody's asking how much does the program cost? The program costs 555. And we also have a website. You can check it out. It's fracad.com if you want to. This is how the website looks like, fracad.com. And you can read about the program. These are contact details. These are emails of my staff. You can reach out to us. It contains details about who can attend, bootstrapping entrepreneurs, business leader, university people. Come join. It's 30 days. It's online. We meet during the weekends. It's practical class. It's customized to you. Then I think some of you asked for my contact details. You could please just reach out to me on WhatsApp if you wanted to chat. Let me see. Just WhatsApp chat only. I get like a lot of messages, so give me time to respond. Then this is my email. You can also send me an email if you wanted to reach out to me directly. But most importantly, if you want to register, just go ahead and register. This is the form. When you register, you upload your payment details here. Yeah. Then let me take more questions. So I think another question here says, I would like to have a list of the agencies that could supply funds for commercialization of our product. There are a number of them. Like I said, we are setting up a portal here. Some of those will be uploaded. So if you want, you can fill the form I shared. And once it's ready, we'll let you know. Oh, Lucy, good to see you. Thank you for helping me respond to some of the questions. I am interested in fish farming financing organization. Please, you need more info on this, and that will be vetsac.com. You don't even need to know me to get finance. That's the cool thing. You just go on the app, fill the app. If we're in your location, we'll contact you. But right now, we're just having a lot more interest in poultry, broiler farmers. So if you're a broiler farmer, please reach out. I wish to kindly request the recording of the section to be shared. I think that's Professor Azi. Tama will share it, I believe, on the online on our WhatsApp group. Then can you go over the cost again? I lost you for a minute, Femi. Yeah, sure, I can do that. Let me see. So this is it. The cost of the program, yeah, this is the cost. It costs $799, about 800K. However, if you're registering as a result of participation in this program, it's 555. And I said that you can, the deadline is December 20th. You can pay a small deposit to lock in the spot. In case you don't have the full amount, you can just pay a small deposit, even if it's 150, 200, just send it. And you will just lock in that price. Okay. And then once you do, this is the bank account to pay to, Profitors Bank, FRACAD Limited, 9640472338. You can pay to that account. Then once you're done, like you don't even need to talk to me, just go on this form, click on it, and just upload your receipts there. And before the classes start, our team will contact you Okay, you can also just drop me a message that, oh, you paid, and that's also fine. Then I'm going to move on to the next question. The next question says, can you help generate a list of sponsors, even those ones you have benefited from? That is grant providers for agriculture. Yeah, there are many of them. We're releasing a portal, right? That you can just see everybody there. There's no hiding of information. And I think I would also try to discuss with Innovate to see if you guys are interested in this. We can also make that specially available for individual members. Just that everything's costing money nowadays. But we'll figure that out. If Innovate is interested, if you guys mention it to Innovate, then yeah, we can make that available. So we've essentially compiled over 4,000 funders that you can, whichever sector, right? From climate to engineering to agriculture, whatever you're doing health, you find a funder there on the database that you can directly reach out to. Some people are asking for the video recordings. We can do that. Yeah, John, please go ahead and ask a question.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Please, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Although the question I'm going to ask is just outside what we are discussing, but not too far.
Okay.
Please, I understand that you've written a book on grant writing.
Yes.
I wanted to find out what the book. Do you still have a copy of that book? And if so, how can I get it?
The book is sold out. Actually, so I'm coming up with a new one, more like a new grant book. Yeah, so we can pass that to Innovate. Tama, so raise this up, let everybody get a copy. Yeah? Noted. Everybody to get a copy from Innovate. We can arrange that. That's not an issue at all.
Then, secondly, is this method of writing grants applicable to research writing grants? Because more or less I'm on academics.
Yes, now why not? Yes. Yes, in fact, it's even more helpful. So, because part of what we're seeing is that academy sometimes creates innovative stuff that only innovative in academia, but do not have a lot of application in the real world industry settings. So, part of what we are helping with is to sort of refine, and Innovate is doing this also very well. If you're part of the Innovate program, to make sure that your organizations go through sort of market validation phase around your innovation, and then once that is sort of have a refined idea or solution. Do you understand? And that sort of also helps to contribute to the traction that you would typically generate. Does that make sense? Hello, John.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Okay.
So yes, and I've also supported folks with applying for some form of scientific grants, like SBIR grants, SCTR grants in the US. The number of those sort of like really technical academic grants that we can also help you win. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
You are welcome. You're welcome, sir. Yeah, so somebody's asking, thank you for the elaborate lecture. Please, could you share your contact and costs of joining the cohort? Yeah, I already did that. I'm just going to do that one more time again. Yeah. So this is my contacts on WhatsApp only. And this is my email, iconofexcellence@gmail.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. Please follow me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook also. Follow me on Facebook. I will drop my LinkedIn link and all that on the chat right now. Okay, let's see if there's any other question. Will certificate be given for at the end of the training? No, it's the purpose of the training is to raise money. So I think I'm more interested in people applying more than in getting certificates. We haven't yet kickstarted the certificate program. I think I'll do that in 2026, actually, a certificate program, and to be open to all alumni anyway. Do you have a copy of it? Okay, we've talked about the grant writing book. Yes, it's applicable to research. Please share the link. Okay. I'm going to share the link to the form. Please, if you're interested, just sort of fill that form out. This is the interest form. If you're interested in the academy, just fill this form out. The form will also be shared on the Innovate group. And yeah, by Thelma. Yeah. Okay, Nafisat and Esther, those will be the last two questions we'll take today.
Okay, thank you. From your submission so far, I realized that we have a different perception of ideas or innovation. Our thinking is always about a prototype. Could see ideas, technologies, not just idea. But now that you're talking about social innovation, I begin to redirect, because even my own project, I've always focused on, I started with the capacity building and the idea and all that. But later, because I saw that even when we came to innovate, it's all about having an MVP, a prototype, this and that. It's all about technology. So, but with what you said, I realized that it's not just about technology, it's about social innovation also.
Yeah. I think a lot, especially in Africa, a lot of the big grants go towards social innovation. Actually, a lot of the big grants go towards social innovation. Oh, Dayo says he has a few copies of my books. He's selling them through Jumia. So please, the link has just been shared on the group. So for those of you who are looking for my book, I think Dayo still has a few copies. So if you click on the link, that Jumia link, it would you'll be able to buy the book, and Dayo will ship it to you. I would also get Dayo's contacts, and tell me if you can remind me, please. I'll get Dayo's contact and share with you, and you can just call or message Dayo, and Dayo would we build the book to you if you don't want to go through Jumia. Okay. Thank you so much. Esther, your last question for today.
Thank you so much, presenter.
Dayo, it's always good to see you. I really appreciate you. Martha, I hear you. We need to talk soon. Looking forward to it. I really appreciate you guys joining these meetings.
Thank you,
Can I
sir.
go ahead?
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right, thank you. So thank you so much, presenter. I'm so sorry I joined late. In fact, I just joined not quite long. So I was just like, I'm lost. I don't even know where to start. So I don't know if you can just do a kind of recap, just maybe 2 minutes recap of what has been said, just for me to have an idea. I know you have talked about grants or something. So I don't know if you can just share a 2 minutes recap, please. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, time is far gone today. However, we will send you the full recap. In fact, you don't need 2 minutes. You need more than 2 minutes. All right. So what we're going to do is to share with you the full video so that you get the full package. Why give you 2 minutes? 2 minutes is too small for you, Esther. It's too small. So
Yeah.
we'll give you the full package. Don't worry. Tema is going to send it to you. The full package. You get it complete. Okay. And yeah, so we talked about grants, talk about how to prepare for grants, what it takes to win grants, why people don't win grants. I also talked about at the end of of it all, like how to prepare for fundraising, and also an academy that I run that can walk you step by step on how to win grants. And now we just started that, get you to apply for grants during the program, right? So you're not just learning, but you're also doing, right? Yes, so this is a full summary of everything. By next week, we're going to dive into equity, how to use either grants or raise equity investment from investors. So I look forward to having that conversation with you, because I believe everybody needs to learn how equity also works, so that you are better able to navigate it. Now, if you have other questions about grants, right, that you also like to ask, raise it up to our meeting next week. We're going to meet the same time next week, Wednesday. Okay? Thank you very much, everyone, and do have a good rest of your day. Okay.
All right, so thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Blessing. We appreciate your presence and your breakdown. Even I myself, I've learned a lot. Thank you so much. And till next time, our meeting has actually stretched beyond 2 o'clock. We have gone beyond the 2 o'clock mark. Thank you everyone for joining, and we really appreciate for the recordings of the session that I will definitely send to everyone that registered. I have your numbers, I have your emails, I will send it to you as well. And most definitely we'll be having more sessions with Mr. Blessing and some other people to attend them as well. Thank you very much, and do have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.